This Shabbat, we're going to read Parashat Hukat, which is a direct continuance of the previous parasha, which was Parashat Korach. Well, our parasha deals with the concept of life and death over again and again. First of all, the concept of red cow, para aduma, that can make the impure person pure and fix the effect of impurity that come because being interact with a dead person, tumat met. And second was a plague of the snakes that many Jewish people died, and it was a copper snake that saved from the trouble. Also 2 leaders of Am Yisrael died. But overall, it's a direct connection to the previous parasha, like we said, Parashat Korach, and together we'll understand what is the connection and what is the great lesson that can bring so much benefit to our life here and now. Well, the mitzvah of para aduma is a mitzvah that has no reason, hukat, just a law, a dry law. And we see that Am Yisrael has to follow this law accordingly and do it regardless if you understand or you don't understand. Even King Solomon did not understand. Amarti achkema v'rechoka mimeni. And on the opposite side is Korach, who tried to understand. He came with ridiculous question to Moshe Rabbeinu, says, a house full of books of Torah still require the mezuzah at the doorpost. And if a person has a tzitzit that is all blue, you still need a rope, a wire that is blue also. Does not make sense. All these questions is not from curiosity. It's not from pure desire to understand and to follow Borei Olam. These questions will take a person, it's unnecessary questions that will take a person away from the purpose of life, from being connected to the Almighty. Because these kinds of questions is just an excuse why not to do, why to separate yourself. Like Korach separate himself from Moshe Rabbeinu, from the truth, from the Torah. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave a great tool to human being. He gave intelligence and wisdom. This is a tool to walk with, to understand our purpose in life, to understand what do we need to do, what do we have to do, what is our obligation in life, and what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. But on the other hand, the person can use the intelligence and wisdom to go against, to go to the opposite way. This is a great tool. But the big difference is, how do you use it? Use it for the benefit, it will give you life. Use it for negative, to go against, you'll discover death. You'll discover that you're disconnected from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God forbid. Our life is a combination of body and soul. Life on earth, life after life, spirituality and physicality, pnimiyut, chitzoniyut, internal life, external life. But the big challenge of life has to bring peace, harmony between body and soul, this life and life after life, physicality and spirituality. We need to bring balance. It's a big wonder how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this all together, how our soul exists inside our body. How are we combination of body and soul together? And that's exactly what we mean by saying, after we're using restroom, we have to recite the blessing. Asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah, Hashem, He created us with wisdom. And we conclude this special blessing. Rofe kol basar u'mafli la'asot. Kadosh Baruch Hu is the healer of every human. And He is mafli la'asot. He does a lot of wonders and beautiful things for us. What is this great wonder? Is the ability of Hashem to install a spiritual soul inside very, very physical body. And that's one of the wonders of creation. Just like life itself is a great miracle, the ability to have faith, emunah, is a great miracle also. Faith is given to us in our heart, in our soul, to provide, to be able to provide us good life, quality life, life of a connection to the Almighty, life of a spiritual growth. The fact that we have faith is not the opposite of wisdom. Doesn't mean leave the wisdom out completely. It means you direct your wisdom. This is why the big famous statement of our sages, Reshit Chochma Yirat Hashem, the foundation of wisdom is God fear. It's amazing because God fear comes from emotions, and wisdom, intellect, is from the brain. But still, our Rabbi is teaching us that you have to direct your wisdom and have it towards God fear only. And another word, Chochma is Koach Ma. What is Koach Ma? Koach Ma means the ability to find why, to find what does Hashem wants for me. But Itchakmut is the different completely from Chochma. Itchakmut, you try to investigate, you try to research something, you try to be smart against, you are mitchakem. When you tell a person what he has to do, and he's trying to find excuse and find a reason and a way to get rid of his obligation, this is what we call itchakmut. Is try to disconnect yourself from your root, from your obligation, from your source, and he ends up dying. Dying is a separation of body and soul, where soul goes to where it's belong and body go back to earth. Our Rabbi is saying that no, we can explain the reason how come the Paraduma purify the impure and impure the pure. Doesn't make sense. Does the opposite at the same time. But Chazal says there is a message you can't explain really deeply what's the reason for it, hukat, with no reason. But there is a beautiful explanation I want to share with you. Paraduma can fix the seal of the golden calf. Why did Am Yisrael do the golden calf? Because they saw that after 40 days, it's already the 6th hour of the day, Moshe Rabbeinu did not come back. And they missed Moshe Rabbeinu very much, and they were trying to duplicate, to make a replacement for Moshe Rabbeinu. They find out maybe the vision, the image that they saw, and the glory chair of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, of Kisei HaKavod, was Adam, Nesher, Aryeh, the shore. So they replaced the bull with a calf and with a calf, and they ends up doing the golden calf. They thought they have a reason. They thought it's very logical. There was itchakmut. So to fix that, we need to follow the rules of Paraduma, red cow, without any understanding, only because Ribono Shel Olam says, and that will exactly remove the sin of the golden calf. Because you did something based on your own knowledge, your own intelligence, your own assumption, your own rules, your own desire. You fix it by doing something that you totally don't understand, and the only reason you do it because the Almighty, Ribono Shel Olam, told you to do. And there's more into that. Actually, the Torah Kedosha says, "Velakachta me'afar ha'para," take from the sand of the para. But in fact, in reality, after you burn the cow, you don't get sand, you get ashes. What is the difference between ashes and sand? Big difference. Ashes was once something alive, like a cow, or maybe it was article, was an instrument that you used for our life. Anything you burn become ashes. Had a life, had a meaning, now it's zero, now it's nothing. Represent death, total lost. But sand, which is actually ground, looks very simple, no structure, no reason, very low level of life. You step on it all the time. But on another hand, if you plow the ground, you put a seed deep down in the ground and you water it, it ends up growing vegetable, fruits, beautiful trees that human can eat and enjoy. So actually the sand represents life, continuance, nothing stops, growth and life. And this is exactly the message why the Parah chose to call, not to call it ashes, but it call it sand. לקחת מעפר הפרה, why? Because after you got yourself exposed to impurity equal death, you separated yourself more from Ribono Shel Olam. Now, to fix that problem, to correct it, the person needs to be reconnected to the Almighty, to the source of life. When you reconnect yourself, that's equal life. And that's why, even though there was ashes of the Parah, it deserved to be called sand, because the value of the Parah to you, the benefit, is just like the benefit of the sand for the seeds of the tree. It can make you grow, it can make you be alive and reconnect again. So באמת, in a way of spiritual growth, of finding a Kadosh Baruch Hu in our life, we don't need to be mitchakem. We don't need to have too much wisdom, and the wisdom that we have has to be directed to the right way, to the right path, to serve the right needs, and not the opposite, God forbid. עיקר היהדות זה פשטות ותמימות. The main concept of Judaism is simplicity, simple faith, simple relationship with the Almighty, being able to express yourself, to communicate with Him all the time, and by that to connect yourself and receive all the blessing, all the inspiration and life that Hashem can provide you. In every person, in every generation, there is a small Korach, there is a small investigator within his heart which asks him, maybe yes, maybe not, maybe before, maybe after, maybe up, maybe down, maybe, even though he's a believer person. But this tiny bit doubt in the heart is a big problem, because your faith has to be clean, clear and pure. And with this power of pure faith, we can go forward, B'ezrat Hashem, and receive all the blessing in the world for us, for our family, for entire Am Yisrael. Baruch Hashem, La'olam, Amen v'Amen. This is Rabbi Avraham Betesh from Chesed Avraham, wishing you all a great Shabbat, B'sorot Tovot, and all the best. Thank you.